So it's good to be back, isn't it?
It's always good to be back with
Yeah.
you, Dan.
There's many people that would disagree with you.
I'm usually one of them.
Okay. So what have you got in the oven today?
Oh, well, today we are baking another plugin from Brainworx through Plugin Alliance. This is the oven. We've had quite a few people ask us to take a look at the oven.
Ah, well, it looks pretty interesting. I can see words like temp and cock.
I'm pretty sure you can't see the word cock. Cook is the word you can see. Yeah, so there's a famous Israeli mastering engineer called Mayor Applebaum, I think his name is, and he got together with Hendy Amps, who make audio hardware, and this is a piece of hardware they came up with called the oven, which very basically is what is known as a colour box or a saturator. It gives your mixes colour using saturation, and a lot of people have been raving about it, so I thought I'd better check it out.
Can we go back to bus compressors? Because I don't, this saturation stuff, it's become very popular, hasn't it?
The market is saturated.
Sean's done a joke, everybody.
I just saved the good ones. You know.
Good. Okay, so take us through the oven.
The oven. Well, first thing I've got to say is that
let's get our head in the oven.
I've often wanted to put your head in the oven, though. Sometimes my own. Do you know what? Lots of people have asked us to look at this, and when I got it, I thought, right, I'll just play with it. You know, how hard can it be? And I did for a minute think either I'd gone mad or I had no skills whatsoever, because whatever I did, none of it made any sense. It was doing some crazy stuff, and it took me a while. I did actually have to read the manual. Wow. Which is, I don't like to admit that ever, but I did have to read the manual. So it is a saturator, but it does things in a very odd way. So at the front end, you have temp and cook, not cock. And this is basically your drive section. This is where you're driving the signal in, and you can choose between high and low temperature, which is basically more or less. Basically. And then you've got, I think, is it broil or bake or something? Anyway, there's different cooking terms used to describe what is going on. And
I'm just gonna EQ the turkey.
I mean, that's basically what we're dealing with here. And then you've got the burner section. This is basically your low, mid, and your high. This is where you're applying the saturation to in the frequency spectrum. And then at the end, you've got the top end, the sizzle, which again, you've got a few different settings you can choose between and then apply more or less sizzle. And then the confusing bit was the last part on the right, which says flow. Because when I first started playing with that felt like an output control. Yeah. I turn it up, it gets louder. I turn it down, it gets quieter.
Sounds very much like an output control.
Yeah, but there was something else going on. This meant I had to go and read the manual. So this basically is feeding in the drive. It's like it's mixing the drive with the saturation at the end of the chain from the beginning. So it's not a complete output. It's adding drive to that output. Anyway, I did mess with it for quite a long time.
Basically, it's two sections, and that's adding the first section to the second.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
After it. But after messing with this for some time, I suddenly realised my 2-bus was sounding amazing. It could do some really great stuff with it. And you do have to mess with it, not go too mad with the bottom end. Bottom end saturation can really get nasty quickly. But I found adding some real sort of top and high mid sort of saturation very subtly just made the mix really come alive. And because it's Brainworx, you've got the TMT thing, the tolerance modelling technology.
Well done, you.
We have the mono maker, we have the stereo width, we have the mix control and all the rest of it. It's really quite spectacular. So much so I'm now thinking maybe this should just be part of my mastering chain from now on.
Wow. Blimey.
Well, I've been using the Loop Trial Saturate 2 that we looked at. I wasn't overly into that when I first started playing with it, but I've really got my head around it and I like it. This is similar but better spec'd in a way. You can do more.
I kind of like that it takes the... We often, we talk about visual representations. You don't like vis reps, do you?
Not with EQ.
But this is quite a cool thing because, like you say, you don't know what each thing does, so you kind of play with it.
You have to use your ears. It forces you to listen.
To use your ears. Yeah. And although when we first looked at it, it's like it was confusing and we joked and we laughed about it.
Yep.
I'm actually starting to like the idea that they've given it. So we could put it. I mean, it's not. It's onomatopoeic, isn't it? Almost. You know, the sizzle is the top end and what have you. There's a kind of when it makes sense. The words that they've used make sense.
You should have a word with them. There's a lot of words came out there. I didn't understand much of what you said in the last minute.
So, Sean, do you get a free trial?
Yeah, it's Plug-in Alliance, so you get the standard 14 days trial.
Wicked. I think I'm going to try this one because you said that like the market is saturated.
The market is saturated.
Yeah, sorry. How much is it?
Normally $349, but we know the deal with Plug-in Alliance. That's not the real price. The real price is the discount price, which at the moment is $79, but it's quite new, so I presume that'll probably go down again at some point. It'll go up and down, but you will get it for cheaper than that.
Okay, so is the oven shit?
Have you got a shit oven?
Have you got a shit? Do you shit in the oven?
I got an air fryer now, Dan, so I just go in there. It's like a potty.
Burn your balls, don't you? Shit. Is the oven shit?
No, it's not shit. No, it's really interesting. You should definitely have a play with it. See how you get on.
Brilliant. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Definitely do that. Click on notifications and like this particular video. And then we also have a Patreon.
And a website, so please go and have a look at that. There's playlisting and chats and merchandise and all sorts of interesting and wonderful things to while away the wintry evenings in the spring. Adios.
See ya.